Next, I want to offer some tips as you prepare this etude. So the one thing that is different about what we're doing is that we have a multiple mallet selection here in the opening, and you may play this with 3 mallets. So you could have something like this, or you may simply choose to play with 4, as it may provide a better balance. Okay. Quickly about the mallets that I'm using. I'm using a medium hard mallet yarn, birch shaft. I find that I like using birch shaft mallets for marimba playing, as I have a little more control of when the mallet's head is going to strike. It makes me feel a little more confident. These mallets I'm using today are the Innovative Percussion. They're Shi Wu model mallets, and I really like the weight and I like the yarn wrapping, so that's what I'm using today. I'm using the number 4, and I've got a number 3 on the bottom. So the opening, this is beginning to rehearsal D. The thing that we're looking for in this opening are a few things. One is that we can demonstrate melody and accompaniment, or that we can play counterpoint compositions on the marimba. So I should hear melody and accompaniment at rehearsal A. So there's an accompaniment. And then when you add the melody, that it should have a different sound. So I'm trying to slow down the speed a little bit on the left hand. You know, if you can hear that difference. The next thing that we need to work on, and this is something I find that a lot of etudes forget to cover, is that we need to work on shifting. So a lot of other instruments need to do this. Violinists have to shift positions. Clarinetists, for example, have to go over the break. So I wanted to cover this in the etude. And so the beginning of the piece, that roughly my belly button is over G. This is the G above middle C. So I can play everything here, and then I can play the melody. And then at rehearsal B, I will need to shift up to this higher register. And then I'm here. Then I'm all in this range. And what happens at B is that only the left hand is moving for the first 3 measures, whereas in A, the right hand was the only thing moving. The left hand was moving very small. So thank you for that. And then we go back to C, rehearsal C, that is, that we're going to skip back down. We're going to move back to this first position. So I suggest you play the beginning to B here, B to C here, C to D, and then have your trap table or your mallet stand so you can go then to 2 mallets for rehearsal D. As a quick note, the measure preceding rehearsal C, if you take a second to look at that, these note values that are tied over are for when you play the vibraphone. If you decide to play this etude on vibraphone, then we want to let those notes ring. I'm not asking for a roll on that. It's simply if you play vibraphone that we're going to let those notes tie over and they're going to keep vibrating. So I apologize if there was confusing, if that was confusing for you on that. But simply for the marimba part, there's no roll. We're just going to play it as written. You'll play the first note of the tied notes. Vibraphone, you let it ring. There are no rolls in this etude. The focus was on the 4-mallet shifting and then going to 2-mallet. All right, let's talk about the section D. It's a little bit quicker, but I think if you're close to the same tempo, around 105, that it will pull off the same musical effect. The focus here is that it's, I would say, piumoso, that it has a little more motion to it than the preceding part. This is all straightforward. I would use it all with the right hand sticking. This is talking about rehearsal E when we switch over to B flat major. And then probably one of the trickiest parts are the 5th through the 8th measure of rehearsal E. And this is where you'll want to work on this kind of windshield wiper technique. So this kind of throwing of the mallet. And then getting to those figures. It goes by very quick, I understand that, but we should be able to do that. So we play the first 4 measures of E, then we add the higher notes in the second 4 measures of E. And then we have just a little bit of a descending counterpoint at the 4 measures preceding F. The end is a recall of the melody at rehearsal A. And then, while I did not write it, because I only put some general dynamic indications because I want the performer to have their own opinion. But I would ask that as you finish this last part, that it's really delicate, and that this last note, that the E should sound like a resultant overtone of the C. I will do a separate video about mallet grip to help you review or discover 4-mallet technique. Hope some of these comments have helped, and I wish you the best of luck in preparing this etude.